Hello, welcome to Brent's Prime Food Adventures. I'm back in the Detroit area. I'm with my family. Today we are making the award-winning sun-dried tomato chicken Italian sausage that our store used to sell, the Family Meat Market. It was in the Detroit area. It was open over 60 years. My father owned it, my older brother Ray owned it, and then I owned it the last 10 years. And it closed in 2024. And I have two special guests today, my nephew, Jason, and his son, Keegan. And Jason worked at the store, like many of us. It was Jason's father, Ray Jr., who bought out my father, and he owned the store for 25 years. Let's start by talking about the origination of the award-winning sun-dried tomato chicken Italian sausage that we sold at the store. We probably made it for 30 years, and when we made it, it was real cutting edge because there was really not a chicken sausage back then. But we were a little bit ahead of the curve on the health-conscious food, and we do know that the chicken sausage is a healthier sausage than the pork sausage. And we just know, everybody knows that chicken is a little bit healthier, a little bit less fatty than pork. So we started making this about 30 years ago. It won awards at the Michigan Meat Association annual conference as a delicious product. And it was one of those products that was proprietary. Nobody else made it anywhere. And you are going to get a recipe today, which is going to be in the link below. Which is mind-blowing in terms of how delicious it is. So we're going to make 25 pounds today. We're going to use a KitchenAid mixer. This is the same mixer that when I filmed my son Tyler and I making the award-winning Hickray Smoked Kielbasa, this is what we used when we made the Smoked Kielbasa. So Jason has the same exact item. And so this is what we're going to use when we make it's fresh, by the way. We're not going to smoke this. Fresh chicken Italian sausage. The sausage itself, Jason, was it good?
That's wonderful. I would have to, when I went to the store to buy some for us, I would have to buy some for our neighbors and their parents also. In our house, it's a staple.
And you would buy a lot at a time. I mean, I remember your orders.
So we would usually buy 15 to 20 pounds at a time for everybody.
Yeah. And then you would end up, would you cryovac it and freeze it, or what would you do when you were buying that much?
I would cryovac it in 4 links for our family, about 1.25 pounds to 1.5 pounds.
And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make 25 pounds. We're going to encase most of it. We're going to leave a little bit bulk because there are some recipes that ask for it to be bulk. And then he's gonna take, once it's made, and he's gonna cryovac it. I'm gonna take 6 pounds of it. I kept getting more and more. At first I'm like, Jason, I don't want to take all your sausage. I need 3 pounds. But one of my friends I'm gonna see tonight used to come in the store specifically for the chicken Italian sausage. I have another friend I'm gonna see in a couple days. He lives in Kalamazoo, and he loved the chicken Italian sausage so much he would drive to the Detroit area to get it. I'm staying with my niece Corey. She loves the chicken Italian sausage. I'm going to get a couple pounds set aside for her. And then I'm going to bring 2 pounds back to the Boulder area where I live. 1 pound's going to go to my sister Dawn and her husband Rick. And then the other pound I'm actually going to cook up. And that will be the recipe that we'll have in this episode. The way I'm going to cook it, guys, we used to do festivals. Jason used to run the festivals. And what I mean by a festival at the store was we would go to we would go to an event like the Detroit Grand Prix or the Wyandotte Art Fair, and we would have a food booth there. And we had a couple of enormous barbecues that were just trailers we would bring there, and we would make subs and sandwiches, and we would sell them all weekend out of this booth. And we would traditionally do like a Hickray kielbasa, smoked kielbasa with sauerkraut. We do Italian sausage with peppers and onions. We do a chicken, a boneless, skinless chicken breast dipped in barbecue sauce and a pita with peppers and onions. And we would also do this chicken sausage with peppers and onions. That was a sandwich. When you get good festival food, it's fantastic, and our food was fantastic. People would, we did steak sandwiches. So we did many, many, many festivals. I started running the festivals for my father as a 17-year-old. I went away to college. My brother Scott did it. I moved out of town. Jason would run the festivals. And because my store started catering more and more, and those events tended to be on weekends too, the festivals, Jay, sometimes, as you know, we would get some bad weather. Mm-hmm. And they were hit and miss. Or sometimes if you didn't get the right booth location, we didn't do well. The catering was always just money in the hand. We knew what we were going to get. So we did less and less festivals over time, and then we just started doing more and more catering. But that will be the recipe that I'm going to share today, is the sun-dried tomato chicken Italian sausage in a bun over peppers and onions. That was fantastic. Anything else about the chicken Italian sausage?
Versatile, and there's a lot of recipes that I can go into with it.
Yeah. Any recipe that calls for Italian sausage, pork Italian sausage, we could use for the chicken Italian. Mm-hmm. So what we're doing today is Jason and I'm not going to just make it myself. I'm going to teach Jason how to make the chicken Italian sausage so that he knows how in the future that he can make the recipe. So first we're going to go over the ingredients. It's only 4 ingredients, everybody. And by the way, the reason that Keegan is involved in this video is, like many people in my family, many, he is a foodie. He cooks, he loves food. You should see all the questions he's asking about this. And he wants to be involved in this so he can help his dad when dad makes the sausage in the future. So here are our ingredients. This is boneless, skinless chicken thigh. We have 25 pounds. You can buy boneless, skinless chicken thigh, and you can grind it yourself. I happen to be acquaintances with a local Southeast Detroit meat market, and what they do is I asked them if they could grind it for me, and they said sure. So we are going to use our KitchenAid mixer to make the sausage, but we're not going to grind it today because we already had it ground. Other items in the recipe: sun-dried tomatoes that are packed in olive oil. These are the casings. Keegan asked me what the casings are. These are natural casings. These are not collagen. What we have here is my seasoning ingredients. So we used a packaged seasoning. The place that I got the chicken from gave me their own proprietary Italian sausage seasoning. And so I will say, I'm going to say this many times, but in the description below, it's so important that you visit the description below, because the recipe is going to be in the description below, but there's also going to be links on how to get casings, how to get an Italian sausage seasoning, even how to get a KitchenAid mixer so that you can do this yourself. So now we are going to start the mixing process. So go ahead. We're going to, because of our container size, if we had a big enough one, we would just do all 25 pounds together. But we have 2 kind of what I'm going to call smaller containers, even though they're plenty big. And we are going to mix our ingredients. I do want to just talk a little bit while we're doing this, guys. One is we use an Amish, boneless, skinless Amish chicken thigh. Amish chicken thigh is actually a little bit, I will say, healthier than a traditional chicken. It's free range. It's all natural. A lot of the Amish, they won't get the organic label, but it's raised organically. We bought, again, the chicken thigh already ground. But if we were going to, if we were going to grind it ourselves, it'd be no problem. We would just grind it ourselves. And again, if you had one big enough container, we would just do all 25 pounds together. So we're splitting it in half. Again, the sausage seasoning, the Italian sausage seasoning, is a proprietary blend. It's not the one that we use at the store, so it'll taste a little different. There are links below to a sausage seasoning that we can use. We are going to cut these sun-dried tomatoes. Let's cut one jar at a time, okay, Keegan? And then what we'll also do is we will the first jar we'll put in one container. Does that sound good? And then we won't cut them both at once. In other words, we'll cut them one at a time. And then the second jar we'll cut and we'll put in the other container. This is what I need to say about the sun-dried tomatoes. This is very important. We did not use sun-dried tomatoes already packed in oil at the store because we would grind them with the boneless, skinless chicken thighs. So what I want to say is that if you're going to grind the chicken yourself, what we would do at the store is we would buy, because they're a little less expensive, we would buy dried, sun-dried tomatoes, and then we would soak them in olive oil so that when they ground, they would run through the grinder easier. And then we would also just take the sun-dried tomatoes after they were soaked in an olive oil. Again, these already are soaked in an olive oil. I bought them that way on purpose. We have to cut these on purpose because we're not going to get the grinder dirty just for the sun-dried tomatoes. We would just take the sun-dried tomatoes soaked in the olive oil. We'd put them on top of the grinder with the boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and we would and then we would grind it all together. It just made for an easier mix. I also want to explain, in addition to the Amish chicken, which if you get the opportunity, it costs more to use Amish. I always would. I feel like the Amish is a better product. I do want to explain that it's chicken thigh and not chicken breast. It's very important. Sure, you can use boneless, skinless chicken breast, but it's going to be drier. And that was one of our secret ingredients with respect to making such an awesome sun-dried tomato chicken Italian sausage. And that was that we used chicken thighs always. We didn't ever use chicken breast. Now we are going to mix. So before we do that, I just want to show that we just have it. It's very simple ingredients. The seasoning, the sun-dried tomatoes that have been soaked in olive oil, and the boneless, skinless chicken thigh. There is nothing else in these. It's so simple. Okay, boys, let's go ahead and mix. We got 12.5 pounds each. Thank you. Jason was reminding me that at the store, our grinder, instead of maybe 6 inches by 12, which is what this is, it's not even that big, our top or the table was more like 4 feet by 3 feet. And then we also had a big mixer right here. I may have talked about it on the episode with Tyler where we made the kielbasa go roar, roar, roar. And so we would not have to hand mix. Although sometimes we still hand mixed, guys, because we didn't want to get the mixer so dirty. A lot of times we would just grind into what is a giant lug, and then we would just hand mix. If we were doing a large amount, like when we made the Hickray Smoked Kielbasa, 300 pounds, of course we would use the mixer for that. We do have gloves on. The reason we have the gloves on is just because you don't have to, it's a raw product, but it's just a little more sanitary, so you're not getting all that chicken underneath your nails. Okay, you do not feel required to use gloves, but we are going ahead and use gloves because we just feel like it's a little more sanitary. Jason has them. And if you watched the prime rib episode that was filmed earlier, Jason and his wife Beth and Keegan and Logan, their other son Logan, host the annual Martiniac Christmas. So we were in this home, although I don't feel like I filmed Jason or Keegan in that particular episode. But this is the home that we brought all the prime rib to and where we had the big prime rib party. There's also a family picture that's in that episode. And that was filmed, or that was taken in this particular home. So I put a little bit of the sausage in, and I turned it on just to make sure that it was set up properly, and it is. Real quick, you don't need the plate. You don't need the blade in when you're making sausage. You just need what is called the worm, and then this sausage making device. And now I'm going to put I'm putting on the casings, and we put the casings on just like this. Okay, so you find the end, and the casings are wet, and then look, I'm just putting a little bit on at a time. And I did get the casings from a gourmet meat market, and these are the commercial casings, but if you want casings and you're going to buy them from Amazon or anywhere else, again, there will be links in the description below. And this is a size called a 32 to 35. That's a very common size for Italian sausage, bratwurst. Sometimes if you do a smoked Polish sausage or fresh, you get a bigger one. But the 32 to 35 is a very common size casing. Chorizo is another one. And again, when you buy them commercially, if you're able to get them from a meat market commercially, they're really long. A lot of times when you buy them retail, they're just maybe a foot or 3 foot long each. So now I have this is just one casing, one natural casing that's on. And it looks like we have more than we need here, which is great. We can go ahead and freeze these, Jay, if you want, or you can decide you want to make more sooner than later. These will last a long time in the refrigerator. I would just refrigerate them for a month or two, the casings, once they've been wet. So we have it on, and we are going to tie this end, and it's just an over-under knot. This is not rocket science. All right, there we go. We'll cut this when we're done. We'll cut this a little bit off because you don't want that on your product. Okay, I feel like we're ready to go ahead and turn it on. Let's turn it on max. Let's just see what happens, Steven. All right, and I'm going to catch it here. Yep, go ahead. And what I want you to see, what I'm doing is I've made a lot of sausage in my life. And so I'm filling the casing up pretty good. So I'm almost holding it so that the sausage fills up the entire casing instead of like going like this and then having it be small. So I'll fix that. And this is going to take a while. We're not going to show this whole thing at all. We'll keep it until maybe it gets to the ground. We did wet, Jason is now filming, we did wet the countertop, you'll see, so that when the sausage comes out, that it will slide across the countertop. Once everything has been encased in the sausage, we are going to, I'll show you how to link it. In fact, I'm probably getting a little too full, it makes it a little hard to link, so I'll make it a little less tight. You're going to put some more in?
Yep.
Yep, he said. Yes, I am, Uncle Brent. In the store, we had a hand sausage crank. And it was a giant tube that would hold 25 pounds. We put the casings on, and it would run right on the ground. And I would crank with the one hand, and then it would come out with the other hand. Just like this. And then, once it was all made, I would link it. But I like the joke because of the thousands of pounds of sausage. I mean, as a teenager, my right arm is still bigger than my left arm. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it's a funny thing to say. I don't want to make it too big, too tight, because then it's hard to twist when you twirl, when you're doing the linking. How are we doing? You're not using the plunger anymore?
No, I gave up.
No, let's don't give up. Let's use the plunger. I feel like it'll work faster with the plunger. So let's try again.
I just have to stuff it in.
All right, Keegan, now they tell you again, there's a reason that they gave you the plunger. Let's just go ahead and try to use it. Let's see what happens. Yeah, see, it comes out much faster when you use the plunger. I don't want to be here all day, so let's use the plunger. I was telling Keegan I was 6 years old working at the store, as was my brother Scott. We saw our beef short rib episode. We're both talking stories. He used to work for hot dogs, he told me, whereas I told him I got paid $0.25 an hour. Okay, now you can see that we're at the point where I'm going to start letting the sausage go on the counter, which has been moistened. And we're going to let this one link, this entire link be, which will probably be, looks like about 12 and a half feet. We're going to put it all in one link, and then we'll do the other, and then we will link it at that point. I'm probably using the wrong word, link. But we'll just have it just be one giant, enormous snake-like thing. And this is fresh sausage. This will never be smoked. When you're making sausage, you really have to differentiate between the fresh and between the smoked. The smoked is the same exact process, but then when you're done with it, you're going to put it on the smoker and smoke it. The fresh is just a fresh product like this. Yeehaw! Yeah, when we were talking about the collagen casing versus the natural casing, this is a natural casing. The size is 32, 35. I prefer working with the natural casings. But I'm a pro. The collagen casings seem to be a little easier to use. But one of the things about the natural casings is I feel like they're longer and they break less. So, give it a chance. I would use the natural casing. I was telling Jay how sometimes there's air pockets in the sausage. There's something called a pricker. That'll be in the description below. That gets the air pockets out. Jay, come take a closer look here. I'm going to show you. Again, this is something that I'm experienced at. There are no air pockets in this. I don't think that this is something that's going to need the pricker at all. When we switch, when you start running this side, we'll see if there gets to be air pockets in it or not. Keegan suggested we do it maybe on the medium. And I said, well, if we go on high, it'll go faster. So I do have this on high. It's possible that this overheats sometimes, in which case it just has to take a break. But let's just use it on high. And if it does overheat, then we'll just go ahead and take a break. If you're worried about it going too fast for you, just run it on a lower speed. I'm going to show you some of the speeds. Like here's an example of the lower speed. I think it just takes too long. So we're not going to do that. Uh-oh, I spoke too soon. I got some air in. Uh-oh, uh-oh. We're going to need the pricker after all. You can see I'm getting some air in the casing. And that's why we'll just, you don't have a pricker? Oh, I can see the air now. I spoke too soon. If you don't have a pricker, we can just use a sharp knife. Okay, so we use the knife just to help with this air. You don't want to make the hole too big, because then it'll just come bursting out of the casing. But now you can see that the air has been removed. There's a little air pocket right here, and what is common is that after it's all done is when you prick it with the pricker. I think we are doing great. Keegan, we are doing awesome. And you can see my little hole where I smoked it. Uh-oh, we got a break in the casing. That's okay. I'll just go ahead and turn it off. Hey, I want you to film this, Jay, if it's okay. So we had a break in the casing now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that with a knife. And you can see where it broke. I mean, that happens with casings. So I'm going to take that and put it back in there. I'm going to tie this shut then, just like we said, with the under over. And that might have happened because I made too big of a hole with the pricker. And I tied that shut, and you can see our first giant, enormous snake of the Italian sausage. And now we're going to go ahead. I'm just going to tie this again, and we're going to start all over. Jay, do you feel it's okay if we switch spots now? Good. Sounds great. Okay. We switched. Now we have Keegan who's standing on a chair. He's not really 7'2". Still pushing the sausage through. And we have Jason here who is now learning. Again, I'm not giving him the Italian sausage. I'm teaching him how to do it. so that when I leave Southeast Detroit and people want chicken sausage, Jason knows how to do it. And eventually, Jason, what will happen is this will go back on the counter. Okay. And it looks great, right? It looks great. It looks great. I see that little bit of air then. Again, I'm just going to give this a quick poke. Yeah. We don't have the pricker, so we're just using a sharp knife. The pricker costs $7, guys. Buy a pricker if you're going to make your own sausage. I feel like that's what happened. That's why the casing split, because I didn't use the pricker properly. I just used a knife. Okay, Jason just put on the second casing. It looks like it's just about as long as the first one. This is our product so far. We had a couple blowouts. I left Jason and Keegan to work on it themselves. And what I neglected to tell them is that the casing gets dry. And so what Jason was having a hard time getting the product stuffed into the casing without a blowout because it wasn't sliding. So one of the things I suggested or recommended is just get a little cup of water, and every now and then, as the casing starts to dry, you just spritz it right on the top with your fingers. So we'll do that at some point sooner than later. So please use that trick. Another trick Jason's been telling me, he watched some videos on KitchenAid mixers similar to this, and he says that if the colder the product is, the easier it slips through. So he believes that if you can even get it down to 30 degrees or even 27 degrees, it works better, because one of the things we learned is that as it gets warmer, it gets stickier, for lack of a better time. And so that's something else that causes friction and makes it less easy to do. So those are two tricks. One is make sure your casing is wet. I'm going to get a little bit of water for them, and I'm going to do that. And then the second is do not let your product come to room temperature. Remember how we made 2 batches, 12.5 pounds each? So the other batch is in the refrigerator. Here is our sausage. I like to say, because it's about a pound a foot, I like to say we got 25 pounds of sausage. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to link it. I did have Jay, one of the tricks, we got a little bit of water on here. It works better with moisture. We're going to have a lot of cleanup. Now we're going to link. You can see all the sausage that we made. And again, this was demonstrated in our Smoked Kielbasa episode. I'm just pinching, gently pinching. And then you just twirl it. And they're about 6-inch pieces. Once everything has been twirled or linked, we're going to cut it. But we don't link and then cut, link and then cut. We link it all and then we cut it all. So I'm doing this now because I'm showing Jason how to do it. Pretty soon he's going to hand the camera to me and we're going to watch Jason do this just like me. What do you think, Jason? Any questions? A little pinch. And then the spin. There we go. It's like we're little sausage meisters. Now we're going to have Jason do it. I always like to say when people make things look easy, it's because they're good at it. Let's see how Jason does. I'm coming in close, Jay.
Takes a little bit to get it going.
So spin it 3 or 4 or 5 times.
3 or 4 or 5 times.
Because what that'll do is that will allow you to, that'll hold together better when we cut it with the knife. Look at you, Jay. It's like you've been doing it all your life. And if you take a look, yours are a little shorter than mine. And you want to have them bun size. So I would start making them a little longer.
Okay.
6 inches, closer to 6 inches. Pinch and twist, spin, whatever word you want to use. Yep. Easy enough, right?
Easy enough. I'm right-handed, so it's easier to start from the right side for me. Oh, man.
Uh-oh. So I'll tell you what we'll do with that.
Okay.
Okay, good. I'm glad we didn't stop the camera just yet. So that's a blowout. So we have a choice. One is we just take that out of it. We just take it right out, and we're going to make that part of our bulk sausage.
Okay.
And then we just have another 1 pound of bulk sausage. Or the other one is we we just make the link a little shorter and tie it.
Okay.
So I think that that's going to have to be bulk sausage.
Yep.
That's a pretty big. And do we want to continue? Will we be able to tie it here?
I think so.
Okay, good. So let's just make that more bulk sausage.
Okay.
It probably makes sense now that I think about it. Before we link, to leave all the sausage maker together, so that if we want to go ahead and push some more through for the ones we break, we can. But we're going to have some bulk sausage anyway, so it's no big deal. We didn't link it all, in other words. In fact, we saved, what, about 6-7 pounds, Jay?
About 6.5.
About 6.5 pounds for bulk. Because some of the recipes call for bulk sausage and not for linked sausage. Now we have it all linked, our 25 feet of sausage. Maybe it's not 25 feet because, again, we took some out for bulk recipes, maybe 5-6 pounds. So let's just call it 20 pounds of sausage all linked. And now Jason's going to cut. Yep. See how easy that is, everybody? That's how you do it, guys. Keegan, you ready to do it now?
Yep.
Is it okay if we let Keegan step in?
Yep.
Keegan, do you see how we're stacking them?
Yep.
After we cut them? Oh, Jay, that counter still needs to be a little bit wet.
Okay.
A little wetter. If we could just put a little water there, it'll just be easier to, yeah, I'd throw some right on top of here too. Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Watch that knife.
There we go, Keegan. So simple, an 11-year-old can do it. Although he's not just an average 11-year-old, he's a foodie. All right, here is our miles of sun-dried tomato chicken sausage. Here's helper Keegan. Keegan, what do you think?
It looks yummy.
Was it harder or easier than you thought?
It was a lot easier than I
A
thought.
lot easier. Jay's already got ideas to make other kinds of sausages, whether it's smoked kielbasa or bratwurst, and use pork, and now he knows how to do it. So my friend Chef John likes to talk about the 3 senses when it comes to cooking. It's not just the taste, it's also the sight, and it's also the smell. So it looks good. Come on in a little closer. This is a little bit of bulk sausage that we cooked up just to see how it tastes. So it looks good, it smells good, and now we're going to taste it. Ready, guys?
I'm ready.
All right. Let's see how it turned out.
Oh, great flavor.
Oh, it does taste really similar to the stuff from the store.
It does.
It's great, everybody. We are back in my Boulder area home. It's January. Let's take a quick look outside. Oh, we got a little bit of fresh snow. And not really any mountain views today, guys. The clouds are covering the mountains. And I have the easiest recipe ever, 5 ingredients. This is going to be chicken sausage with peppers and onions. We're going to saute the peppers and onions in a little bit of olive oil and over French bread in a bun. So this is the classic, and I mean classic, festival food. One of the things that Ray's Prime Foods, my old store, used to do was work festivals on weekends. We would grill sausages, steaks, chicken, and serve it up to the masses. So I'm sauteing my chicken sausage. I'm not grilling outside today. Didn't really have the weather for it. And what I do is I've got maybe a ½ inch of water in a skillet. And this will take maybe 10-15 minutes. And I'm going to cook my sausage on both sides in the water. Maybe call this a parboil. I always cook my pork and chicken sausage this way, even if it's just a little lynx. When you have raw ground pork or raw ground chicken, those are things you really want to cook through. And this is how I cook it through. So what will happen is after 5 or 10 minutes, I'll flip the sausages and then I'll cook the other side. And then I'll let the water boil out. And then I'll just brown the sausages on both sides, same skillet. And that way they're going to get a little bit of the word I love to use is a sear. And that's how I cook all my sausage. Okay, now I'm sauteing my onions in a little olive oil. I am using a high quality premium genuine olive oil.
by a company named Healthy Harvest. If you have not seen my olive oil episodes, you need to watch because it's life-changing about how you need to use a healthy olive oil and not the stuff necessarily from the big box stores. The green peppers will be next. What you need to know here is I didn't dice these, they're more slices. You want big slices of the onions. Meanwhile, my chicken sausage is just boiling away. Okay, you can see where my onions are softening. So here go the peppers. We always want to do the onions first. We'll just saute those together for 5 or 10 minutes. No garlic, no Italian seasonings. You can season your peppers and onions any way you want. No black pepper, no salt. I feel like there's enough flavor in the sausage that we can just do the peppers and onions on their own. Okay, it's been 5 minutes or so. I flipped the chicken sausage once. I did add, they're so lean, I did add a little bit of extra olive oil to the chicken sausage, so it would help with the sear. You don't have to do that. I just thought it would look a little better. I don't usually, especially with pork sausage where there's plenty of fat in it. And I do like my vegetables, what I refer to as al dente, meaning they're not fully cooked, they're still a little crunchy. So I'm almost ready to pull. Okay, here are my two chicken Italian sun-dried tomato sausages and covered with peppers and onions. If you try to eat these as a sub, as I'm doing, over a hot dog bun, I feel like the hot dog bun will be too soft. So what I did was I was able to get some good sourdough bread from a local bakery. It was a long loaf, and then I just cut it in half. As you can see, I kind of split it. If you have not watched the sourdough bread episode at Brent's Prime Food Adventures, that's another one that is amazingly informative with respect to the health benefits and the flavor of sourdough bread versus traditional bread. If you were a shopper at Ray's Prime Foods, you're from the Southeast Detroit area, and you used to stop by the food booths and get a sausage like this, festival sausage I'll call it, comment below and tell us what you thought and if you miss it, now that we're not doing it anymore. Cheers. How's our hair?
I think I call mine.